It's been about 3 days since SmackDown. I'm sure all that Cody and Rock stuff's blown over by now. Let's see what happened on last night's Raw.
Do you feel him, sir?
WWE allegedly censoring anti-Rock chants. Fans send death threats to The Rock's daughter, and Luke's review of Monday Night Raw. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
For the benefit of those wrestling fans who haven't been online for the past 2 weeks, and to those, I envy you. I want your prelapsarian innocence. The Rock has been appointed to TKO's board of directors. Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble, chose to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania XL, and then gave that match to The Rock 6 days later. Also, Vince McMahon resigned because of a very serious lawsuit, and The Rock might be trying to take over the company behind the scenes. Which, after the last 4 years of wrestling, is just a pretty normal January and February. One of the many problems with all of this is that fans were quite invested in that 2-year-long story WWE have been explicitly telling, where Cody will win the title his father had taken away from him on the grandest stage of them all. So it's prompted quite the backlash. Some fun, some unhinged, but all, and it's important to never lose sight of our place in the Marks, Carney promoters dynamic, making loads of money for WWE. Following the NXT Vengeance Day crowd booing graphics of The Rock on a screen, the February 5th episode of Raw's audience took fan hijacking to a level we haven't seen in WWE for years. Partly because the product has gotten so good recently, and partly because one of those years had a pandemic. There were no fans. Raw's St. Louis crowd heavily chanted "Rocky sucks" during the opening segment between Seth Rollins, Cody, and Drew McIntyre. But WWE acknowledged the boos and reportedly even fostered a pro-Cody sentiment, handing out "We Want Cody" signs in the audience. Yes, there's a reason they were all written in the same font. The apparent plan is to give Cody a Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 style yes movement to properly make Rhodes the company's top babyface. Unfortunately for WWE, that process also turning The Rock heel was not their intention, which might be why, weirdly, WWE allegedly muted Rocky Sucks chants later in the show. In the main event bull rope match of Cody versus Shinsuke Nakamura, fan footage is circulating of the audience heavily chanting "Rocky sucks." I've checked the spot they're doing it on, Cody punching Nakamura in the corner, but that took place during the commercial break. WWE didn't censor that one. It just wasn't broadcast. But according to Fightful Select, WWE production did try to cover the boos against The Rock on the previous night's NXT PLE. It's rumored the same thing happened on Raw following them acknowledging it at the top of the show. Chanting "Rocky sucks" is a mostly well-adjusted way to express your anger at pro wrestling booking. Sending his daughter death threats? Not so much. Ava Raine, the real-life daughter of Rock the Dwayne Johnson and also the general manager of NXT, that was totally done on her own merit, has posted, "Can y'all just leave me out of this for F's sake? I'm busy running a show. Death threats over a situation I have nothing to do with. BFR. BFFR. Best friend forever? Right? Oh no, it's B effing for real. I'm cool. I'm effing real." But as a wise man once said, controversy creates cash. Or just look past the fact he then killed his own company. Dave Meltzer is reporting the backlash against The Rock is currently a shrewd business decision. Following the people's cuckolding on SmackDown, there was a major jump in ticket sales for the next episode of Raw. And WWE is going to get more eyeballs for this match than any match they've ever had. They're going to have more sponsorship revenue based on the fact Dwayne's wrestling than any match they've had. Let's spread some wrestling positivity before we get into Luke's Raw review. Here's a clip of the brand new episode of Tables, Lists and Chairs, counting down the best Royal Rumble matches ever, which you can watch now using the link in the video description below.
You've got a lot of really fun Madison Square Garden stuff here. I love the short ramp that they have here, reminiscent of 2000. I wish they'd bring that back.
Such a cool
Hyper and Snuka have their deal. Triple H and Cactus 8 years after the Street Fighter here. And then, of course, it's Cena coming back, which everybody forgot for 10 seconds how much they hated him. Because I cannot stress
how superhuman this is. Like, it's been 15, 16 years.
I still can't believe that this man came back from a torn pec in like 3.5 months.
So just a spoiler, this isn't on my list at all.
No.
He's still angry.
But I get, like,
mine.
you know, when I was looking around, everyone was like, oh, it's top 3 or top 5 or whatever. Some people's number 1. But whenever I think of this Rumble, I just think of...
And now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka the pivot episode of Monday Night Raw in about 5 minutes. Seth Rollins opened the show to brag about getting a pop this time, and the commentary let us know what this episode of Raw was all about. Pat McAfee said, "The whole world is talking about WWE." He didn't say that the whole world was upset about The Rock seemingly taking Cody's place at WrestleMania, just that the whole world is talking about WWE. Michael Cole, on several occasions, noted that Cody Rhodes has been trending on Twitter for 3 whole days. He didn't say it's because of fan backlash to WWE's whiplash change of plans, just that Cody's been trending for 3 days on Twitter. WWE did an incredible amount of spin on this episode and turned a rather ugly booking situation from SmackDown into an intriguing positive for Monday Night Raw. Rollins called out Cody, who just feels like the world's biggest doofus at the moment, but he didn't actually get to say anything. Rollins put over his title, which got booed again, and once again asked Cody if he would face him at WrestleMania, which also got booed again. Drew McIntyre came out to say that Rollins is just trying to get into Cody's head and that he should go and finish the story. Do not let your dad down, because when you go and do what Drew wants you to do, it means that Drew can face Rollins for the belt because it's time for him to take over. He headbutted Seth Rollins and Cody sent him packing. WWE are in full pivot mode following the backlash to SmackDown, and this segment was designed to make you think that Cody versus Roman is still a possibility for WrestleMania, which it very much is. They went to great lengths later in the show to say that Rock versus Roman at Mania is not official, all the while setting up Drew versus Rollins for the losers belt at Mania in the losers bracket. Thursday is going to be an interesting day, that's for sure. WWE are in a bit of a mess right now, but they're leaning into it. I think this might be the most watched WWE press conference in history. The other story of the show was that this crowd turned out to go nuts for Cody Rhodes and let WWE know that they want Cody Rhodes, but they didn't really care about much else. They did very much get into the fatal 4-way tag match by the end, because the action broke down into 8 lads hitting big moves and doing big dives, and it was awesome, and that's always going to get a reaction. DIY got a blind tag on the Creed brothers to hit meat in the middle to get the win. They're now going to face British Strong Style on SmackDown, with the winners facing Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber. It was a really good showing for the Creeds, who felt like they've been off the boil since their debut, and it furthered the feud between New Day and Imperium. More on that in a bit. Becky Lynch beat Shayna Baszler to qualify for the Women's Elimination Chamber, the winner of which will face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. It was a good match, and we're going to get Liv Morgan versus Zoe Stark in another qualifier next week. Speaking of Ripley, Adam Pearce announced that she'll be facing Nia Jax for the title at Elimination Chamber, with Jax coming out to lay out Rhea Ripley once again. It is so smart to position Rhea Ripley as the babyface going against their heel Nia Jax going into the pay-per-view. Not only because Rhea's basically over as a babyface anyway, but she's going into her home country for Chamber and will be cheered like a returning national hero. Valhalla and Ivar beat Alpha Academy in a mixed tag match that was sloppy, and Judgment Day had a chat in their Judgment Den when R-Truth showed up to make jokes about being initiated into the group last week. So rather than beat him up like they did last week, Priest told Truth to make himself at home in the den. Truth instead decided to go to ringside to give his t-shirt away for free during JD McDonough's match with The Miz, which was a match that you can close your eyes and just imagine beat for beat and you'll probably be right. Truth tried to give JD his cut of the merch money despite thinking that JD isn't part of the group and isn't even on the merchandise, and it allowed Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale for the win. As I said last week, I think this sets up Awesome Truth winning the tag team gold from Judgment Day at WrestleMania, and that will be really, really nice. Adam Pearce had a chat backstage with Bron Breakker, who had a stare-down moment with Imperium, which could set up Bron to just fully take Brock's place at Mania and face Gunther for the IC title, but not before Jey Uso gets his shot. Gunther celebrated 600 plus days as Intercontinental Champion, but was quickly interrupted by Jey Uso, who put over Gunther's accomplishments. Gunther responded by putting over Jey's accomplishments too. He was tag champion for over 1,000 days, but that also means he only did 50% of the work, unlike Gunther, who's done 100% of the work. Imperium attacked Jey Uso and New Day ran out for the save. They'll have a trios match next week. Damage Control retained the women's tag titles over the Party Girls in a okay match with not a lot of heat, and Jackie sat down with Sami Zayn to talk about his current direction, or perhaps lack thereof. Sami talked about the highs he had around this time last year, turning face, nearly beating Roman in his home country, main eventing WrestleMania, and now he's not really sure. But he does want to be a champion, and he wants to do it for the fans who believed in him. It was a very good and very real promo, but it also does highlight that there are a lot of guys with question marks above their heads going into WrestleMania. And the main event saw Cody Rhodes beat Shinsuke Nakamura in a bull rope match to finish a feud that finished last month, but is happening again because we want Cody, I guess. They put over the connections the Rhodes family has to the bull rope gimmick, even saying this was the same bull rope that Dusty used in his infamous match with superstar Billy Graham. And while this was nowhere near the quality of that, it was still a fine main event. WWE's problem is that they can't really do a proper bull rope match because they can't go to that level of violence. Not that this feud necessitated that level of violence, Cody's already beaten him twice, but they did have a clever little twist. You see, WWE can't do blood, so Nakamura spat red fist on Cody's face to make it look like he was covered in blood, just like his old man. Cody hit the crossroads for the win, and Drew McIntyre laid him out after the match, and it capped off an episode that was... that's fine. There is so much intrigue in WWE right now following the controversial end to SmackDown, and I would wager that the opening quarter hour of this show will do a monster number when the ratings come out tomorrow. The Fatal 4-Way Tag match was awesome, and the rest of the wrestling was broadly fine. This week's show is 3 out of 5. Now go and check out myself, Ollie Davis, and Tempest counting down our top 10 Royal Rumble matches.